Let's do that.
Call meeting to order.
Yeah.
Took a welding
All right,
class.
pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do a roll call.
Wondergem.
Here.
Vanek here. Steffes.
Here.
Gardine. Here. Campbell. Here. Dehan.
Here.
And Hybor.
Here. All right. Please note as a courtesy to members of the audience and the Board of Education, please silence your cell phone. The public will only be able to speak during public comment if signed up. Do we have any? That's it. Very good. Item number 1 on the agenda, the approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Support.
Okay.
We did.
It was Bob.
Bob and
I support it.
Joe was the support.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? All right. Item number 2, the school report for Cummings Elementary.
Sure. So very excited to have Cummings Elementary with a presentation tonight. Mr. Bosker, as you can see, is here, and we'll turn things over to him.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Alan Bosker. I have the privilege of serving as the principal at Cummings Elementary. And I have the parents here with me. Jess, who went to Cummings. I'm learning this today, actually. And Mia, who's at kindergarten with us. And we're going to talk about a little bit of a program that we're going to talk about a program that we started this year. And the concept behind it was that we really didn't have that connection with our community. We have a tremendous community at Cummings, like just tremendous. But it stopped at helping out at events. It stopped at helping at parties. And so we really wanted to design something that was going to help us with instructional practices. And so selfishly, I looked at our neighborhood schools. They do a program called Watchdogs, which is a program determined right around getting dads in a building, because males typically are the principal, the custodian, and gym teacher. And Cummings has that exact same setup. So although that is something that we want to strive for, we said we first need to build the bridge of bringing parents back in a meaningful way. And so even as my second year, the first year, if a parent came to me and said, hey, I really want to help volunteer, without extensive training, without a commitment, a time commitment, it would have been a real challenge to kind of piece something together. And it wouldn't have been as meaningful as we really wanted to. And so our hope our intention this year was to not only establish this program, but have it be part of a WIN, What I Need program. And so we have established a very consistent intervention system that's going to help all of our students learn. And then in addition to that, partnering with parents to how that all fits together. So, sweet. So that is how this was kind of established. So I along with our building leadership team, reached out to the Grandville Educational Foundation and said, hey, I think this is a really good idea. I'm going to need a little funds to help us out with it. However, it's really just structural building. And so we reached out to them. They were incredibly grateful, honored the grant, has celebrated it. So it's been on, it's not Twitter anymore, X, is that what it is? It's been recognized in that platform a couple different times through their program. And we've experienced a lot of success, which I'll talk about in a second. But let me quick describe how we kind of built it. And then Jess and Mia, if you guys want to talk, just kind of explain your experience. And then I'm going to recap and talk about a little bit about data, because that's the part that kind of drives me, right? So we reached out to all of our families, and this would be a welcoming to moms, to dads, to grandmas, grandpas, friends of the family. As long as you pass a background check and love kids, you're welcome to join us, right? And so our hope and our sales pitch to this was that we wanted to build students to have a positive role model. However, in my own experience, I got to see my kid in the school setting. I didn't know that he could listen until I saw him at school and I saw him listen to a teacher. I thought, okay, I gotta write this down. So it's a nice opportunity to kind of see your kids, how they all engage. And so our ultimate goal at the very bottom there is to positively impact academic performance, build their self-esteem, and their social behavior. So we have had, I think I'm going to cover this in about a little bit, but we've had about 23 parents volunteer thus far, halfway through the year. It does slow down quite a bit in January, February, but that's okay. We're building this as we go. So what the day looks like, as just a quick overall, is that the parents will come in and they'll get a schedule that looks like this. They'll sign in. Some parents tell their kids they're going to be there, and so the kids tell me about it every day, and we're all excited. Some it's a surprise, and that look of excitement is Christmas morning for a lot of us. And so the parents will come in, they'll check in with their kids in the office, we'll take a cute picture of them, they'll get their visitor badge, they'll get a schedule, and then they start their day in their student's classroom. Till about 8:50, and that's when our intervention cycle starts, and so during that time, the parents will rotate with our interventionists, assuming we're doing interventions at that time, and they are working with students who are not receiving that direct instruction of interventions. So we have that cut score of a 40 percentile and below. We make sure those kiddos have this specific intervention. I didn't want to mess with that. The part that I did want to mess with is I know kids who I feel confident don't need interventions, but I'm not positive they're going to be immediately successful in their classroom experience. So if I were to be able to offer them a one-on-one opportunity to read together, to work on decoding, things that don't require a lot of training, but enough to keep us practicing the right skills, that is going to be our success criteria that we'll measure in a little bit. And so we run through a day, 4th grade, 3rd grade, 2nd grade, 1st grade, kindergarten, and then we invite our families to stick around for lunch and recess. Some have taken us up on it. Some have looked outside and said, how cold is it? And then made their decision, completely up to them. But the hope is we've had some families stick around till 1:15, and we've had some leave right after their first opportunity to leave was. And then the other piece, the crucial piece for me, was the exit survey. And so I try to connect with every family that comes in our building. I do connect with every single family that comes in our building. But in addition to that was to make sure that we are getting better, right? we've designed something, I think it's really good, but there is obviously feedback that makes us get better. And so I have some of those survey things, but that is something that we're constantly looking at. Couple of things as we just said, hey, let's just start this. Things that we learned as we were developing this last year, but also as we went through this year. So much of our lives are focused on our cell phones that we really have asked parents to be present, to be where your feet are and not on your phone. We also have some students who have some strong emotional, strong big feelings and big emotions and big behaviors, and it's okay, right? And so we have the systems to support them, and so if that situation were to arise, we gave them guidance on how to handle that. And we also have MERT and BERT, which is the medical and behavioral needs of our building. Although we can't give a full training on that, we just basically ask to remove yourself if that situation were to arise. And the part that was probably most challenging was to convey was the confidentiality. It's really nice to be able to come in and say, oh, Jimmy, and want to talk about them at the dinner table. However, Jimmy might not have had a good day that day, and it's not fair to talk about Jimmy at home, kind of a thing. So we've tried to articulate that. I've not heard any concerns about that yet, which means we've conveyed the right message. However, that is something that we're going to continue to look at. And then obviously with the district support, we've had background checks being able to provide it to make sure. As a dad, I would feel really bad if something like that were to pass through. So I love that. And so before Jess and Mia talk, we also had another family planning on joining us, so I apologize. They were not able to make it. I got a text. They weren't in school this morning, so I thought, well, maybe they just couldn't wake up today. I get it. I didn't want to get up either. But they are all fighting the flu. So they stayed home. So no pressure. You get the onus. But if you could just kind of describe your experience, what it was like, what it felt like, any positives or any reflections you've had.
So with this, I actually got this email, saw it, and I'm a working mom, so full-time working mom. I have Tuesdays off as my one day off, and I would love to just be in the school. Want to get involved. Saw the email, I'm like, this would be a perfect fit. I love this. I actually, going into it, wasn't sure as to, am I just with her all day? Like, how is that gonna go? Because she's my buddy. Anyway, so when I walked in, it was kind of nice to just have like some time with her, and it's like, all right, I gotta go to other people. And that was actually kind of, once I got like my first round, I think I was with the 4th graders. Right there, yeah. Once I was with the 4th graders, that was my first round that I went to, and it was just kind of, yes, just a minute. And the thing that kind of like hit me the most was that as I moved through those classes, I loved being like with the certain kids, but what really hit me the most was that there was a lot of them that I worked with that, like he said, a lot of us just have the cell phone usage that like we don't think about, right? A lot of us as parents have to work these days. It's not like when my parents were young and I was home with my mom. They're not getting like one-on-one time. And I'm super, super passionate about that. So there was a lot of kids that I reported back. I think you were gone that day, but I reported back to Amanda. And I'm like, hey, what are we doing with this kid? Like, how do we feel about him? Like, does he have a mom and a dad? Like, where is he at? What can we help him with? And that just is kind of like near and dear to my heart. We are actually, I guess backstory on that, we're actually not Grandville students. We're from the Coopersville area. I went to Cummings, and that is why we wanted her there. And just this program alone is just kind of seeing all the kids and how it all operates. I will sign up for many more of these days. I already asked them that. I'm like, if it's already booked, I'll just do another one. It's fine. Yeah, and I just think it's a really cool program to have. I don't know, do the other schools do it, or is it just ours?
Just ours.
Yeah, so if you need anyone to campaign for the other schools, I will do it. Because it's awesome. And she really enjoyed it. Lunch is a little bit wild. Like, that's pretty insane. Your lunchroom workers, like, don't get enough credit. Like, that's wild. But yeah, just seeing and being with the kids. The day that I signed up and worked as a Bulldog Scholar was actually just a couple days before the Christmas party. So when I went back to the Christmas party, I was like, hey, so-and-so, hey, so, and they're like, how do you know me? And I'm like, I literally worked with you 2 days ago. But then I had others where they were like, hey, Mrs. Spirit. So just kind of having another familiar face and knowing some of their faces, like if she comes home and talks about so-and-so, it's like, all right, yep, like, that's a good kid. Or, yep, we need to make sure we're really nice to this kid, and all of that. So, yeah, it's a super good program.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. And she didn't want to talk, but she enjoyed me being there too.
Here's a picture of some of our Bulldog Scholars that we've had. We have a bulletin board in our hallway that we kind of use as a live yearbook program, and so as things happen, we just post them throughout the year. And so it's kind of nice to be able to see your face on the wall or on the screen, maybe. So the feedback that we've gotten thus far on the program is that we've had an 4.83 out of 5 stars. We've had to be flexible. We've had to learn from different things. Initially, we talked about having them be with their kids all day long, like you mentioned, and although that was a real consideration, we really wanted to impact more, right? That ripple would be bigger. And so we're really excited. There's some feedback that we've gotten that teachers didn't have the resources available right away, or little things like that I was not upset about. I want to grow from and learn from. But I love that when the parents say, like, pull out experiences being able to boost self-esteem. Like, that's what our parents are observing happening, which is awesome. So we also have, in addition to this program, we also have two volunteers who have been coming from the beginning of the school year. One is a Grand Valley kiddo, not kiddo, she's going to be a grown woman soon, and a grandma of one of our kiddos. I've been tracking their NWA data just out of behind the scenes, and we had an anticipated growth of 59 points for those 8 students, and they had 145, which is 245%. So I want to be clear, I'm not taking any of the credit from this. I'm not even giving the credit to those 2 wonderful ladies. Like, this is a team effort. It's just fun when the pieces come all together and we celebrate the successes. But in addition to this, I hear that Dr. Merkel might be talking about some data in a little bit. So I won't go into too much detail. A little teaser, yeah. So this is our growth. This measures whether our students are making a growth that we want them to make. And this is our school-wide K4. Typically, when you're in that 41st to 60th percentile, is kind of like that. It's okay. Green and blue are wonderful, and so we'd love to have it be all be blue, but we realize that learning doesn't happen linearly like we want it to, but we have to celebrate that being in that 68th percentile, that growth, median conditional growth index percentile is something to be celebrated. And then in addition to that, our fall, if you took all of our achievement marks, we would have scored 62nd percentile, sorry. And Mr. Glarum, who works in the curriculum office, often says that changing behavior is easier than changing reading scores, right? I don't know if I quoted him correctly, so don't call me out for that. But to see a 7-point jump in reading is a true testament to what our teachers are doing, to what this program is doing. all the different pieces that are fitting together, along with wind time, right? I mean, we have a lot of things. So overall, we've really celebrated a lot of successes thus far this year. We have a lot of work to do. We're not done yet, but I have to commend Jess for being here. Thank you. But also all the families that we have in our building to volunteer to give up a morning to spend time with kids is not easy. I think I could find a few other things I'd rather do on a day off, and to have them give that time up to us is tremendous. So thank you for listening, and thank you for the GEF for funding this.
I would just like to add, when we moved into this district, we came from Indiana, around South Bend area, and there were actually schools that wouldn't allow parents in at all. And when we came here, there were parents pulling kids out to read, there were parents pulling out kids to do math, just the routine stuff that was already set up by the teachers. And there was just, like you said, this idea of community, and the phone issue is huge, right? And it's just really awesome to see you guys making a concerted effort to get parents back into the building, because what happened with COVID is we just lost so much momentum with parent involvement, right? So we knew things were happening on the student side, but then how do we get people to know it's safe to come back in? And where do we put, after we've been so independent, where do we put parents? And this is a super cool program that seems to kind of hold our hand back into it. And I am so excited to see parents back involved, and with every child too. Yeah, it's really great to have another safe adult. So thank you so much. Yeah,
Let me
thank you.
formalize this. I know my
Yeah.
mom, she just passed this summer, but she would love to go to Cummings, and she would help Mimi Madden and Sherry Klagmeyer's. And whether it was just be someone, and it just, and they, both those teachers had, us as kids, but also then, my kids, and so they knew my mom, right? And so she would come in, and it was a great way for her. She was just a great year to be able to listen to kids read, and the kids were comfortable in it. And so I encourage, right? I mean, I don't know how you do it, but I look at this time of year, December, January, February. I look at my dad now, right? He's an outdoor person. He is indoors, and he's just bouncing off the walls. So these are great opportunities for people, I think, for grandparents especially, if we can find a way to get them involved. I mean, that was one of the things I was going to encourage them to do is, I know schools are always looking for help. Just go there and listen. You don't have to do anything. Just listen to people read their writing. Listen to people read a book out loud. That's all.
Go stand outside at recess.
It really is. Yeah. So easy to, as an adult, especially in elementary. There were a few, got the math assignment where he's like, hey, these kids doing their math homework. And I was like, can I do it? You should be able to. So there are some things like that where I'm like, geez, I don't know how you write that out, but you also figure it out. And again, a lot of it is, there's those kids that didn't do their homework and they need help with that, and they're just stinkers. But there was another kid too that stuck out that we were reading, and there was another student that kept coming out, sneaking out of his class, whatever he was doing. And I was like, hey, so-and-so, you supposed to be out here? He's like, no. Well, this kid, I could just sense that there was something going on, because he was like, oh, he keeps coming out here. And come to find out, that kid kind of was a problem for this kid. And I was like, does he kind of pick on you? So it's kind of, I don't know, being able to be eyes and ears for that too, where it's if we didn't have that situation, who knows, right? He would maybe go home and be like, I really want to go to school tomorrow, or something like that. So I don't know.
We don't understand how much goes on in a classroom. Right?
Yeah.
We're like a group of kids. Right?
It's a
All the
lot.
dynamics there. I mean,
Yeah.
our teachers are fabulous, and they know so much, and they know so. We don't know everything, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
just that extra set of eyes and ears can help.
Yep.
Yeah,
Can you
it's a
remind
good
me,
window
how are
into
your,
that.
with your teachers, what are some of the feedback that you're hearing from the teachers, specific?
Yeah.
This is so helpful, because I just know it was so helpful to teachers too, because we would do copies, or we would,
Yeah. So when I introduced this last year, I think they thought this dude's crazy. He's lost it, right? Because I don't think that there was that buy-in. And it's taken a little bit of finding the right rhythm, where it's not more work on teachers, right? Because that's everyone wants to avoid that. I get it. Less is more, right? We just had that in our newsletter this week. And so there was a little bit of a pushback that way, but once we started feeling the success, and I'm a data person, so when I put data up and say, prove me wrong, tell me this is not working, along with what you're doing, how is this partnering together, the buy-in has been much more successful.
Great.
And in everything, you have some who don't like things, don't like change, I get it, and some who are Mr. Rabanov, let's go. You know, I'm so excited to bring as many parents as you could possibly get. Right?
Wonderful.
And then I think also, you mentioned the copies too, is that we want to find the opportunity for parents or families who want to help, but just aren't willing to meet with kids or to do those kind of things. And so we have an opportunity for them to do that too. New math curriculum resources that have to be inventoried and assigned and stuff like that. That has also been approached for us too.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So if your dad wants to volunteer, we always need mentoring or helping with kids read. Like, I kid you not, male figures are great.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
Great. I'm wondering, and this is, I was really excited when I got this email. I'll do my day at some point in January or February. I have to get permission from Finn.
Yes, that's the kid first.
But I'm wondering about how can you take this, because I do know there are parents who might want to volunteer on a regular basis, doing kind of more instructional, do you have any ideas for how you could take this and then kind of harness that energy so that you could have some parents in there running small groups so they get some training and they really kind of know how to do that? I think that's something that I could see a lot of parents being excited about.
I would agree. I think that our first intention was to open the gate, right, to welcome. I mentioned a grandma that we have at this school. She worked in a school years ago, was retired, and said, I hate doing the ugly stuff, but I want to do the fun stuff when we were kids. And so she has been doing it every Tuesday. And I don't think without this structure, we would have had a very as successful plan.
Right.
And so she's been kind of my guinea pig. I told from the beginning, I said, I'm not sure I was going to go. But it's going to be great. And so she's been kind of the catalyst of how this could work in the future with other folks. Since we've started this, we have, so Grandma Common's her name, she comes every Wednesday, and then we have another parent now who gives up every Tuesday too, but in a specific classroom. And so that one's a little different, but I don't think without this opportunity for them to see the building, they would have said, I can even do this on a Tuesday morning, right, or something like that. So I do think that we need to fine tune a few of these things, but then that transition plan would be a very significant conversation to have with our team. I like it.
Is there a plan to expand this to the other building, Raj?
Well, I think it's other buildings have some cool things happening, not exactly this though, but I think this is like that pebble in the water that spreads, because these guys meet all the time, they talk about what they're doing, they share it. We have district school improvement and we all share the different things that are happening in every building, so all the other people hear those things, so the ideas do get shared and spread out.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's a great program, no doubt about it.
Thank you. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Yeah, thanks for coming. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Going in 3.
Thank you for coming.
Great job. I love reading a book.
All right.
I know, because you go in and read at Central with
On
Rosie
item
all
3,
the
the
time.
consent action agenda.
It's just.
3A, the board meeting minutes workshop and special meeting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion passes. Public comment. We have one person up for public comment. That is Brandy Risbach. Brandy, you have 5 minutes, and I will let you know when we're at 1 minute.
Won't need that long.
Do you want my phone?
Yes. Good evening. My name is Brandy Ritzma, and I am a parent in this district. I need the board to understand something very clearly. I was forced to file a FERPA last year requesting simply to be recognized as a parent and to attempt to correct inaccurate records. Somehow, since then, and being included again, my parental role was erased, and I have now been functionally erased for over a year. Ask yourselves, what would you do as parents if your name, your voice, and your standing in your children's lives were removed by your own school district? This did not happen without notice. I met with administrators. I spoke at board meetings. I've called, I've emailed, I've asked respectfully and repeatedly for help and accountability. Instead, I was disregarded. Before this situation currently, with the school counselor. Cheerleading coaches were allowed to make false police and CPS reports based on assumptions, not evidence of harm. That conduct was never corrected, obviously. No accountability followed, and now the same pattern has repeated itself. I also need to clarify an important fact. My daughter brought recordings into the school that were created outside of the school. The school has no authority to authenticate, evaluate, rely upon, or retain outside recordings involving a parent simply yelling at their child. There's no context there. Allowing staff to rely on them places the district outside its legal authority and inserts the school into custody matters it has no jurisdiction over, while involving a child and evidence gathering against a parent, which is inappropriate and harmful when they're being coerced by the other parent. I've also told administration I have ample proof of that as well, that my child is being instructed. There has been no finding of harm, no proof of harm, and no causation of harm. And at this point, continued refusal to act after repeated notice is not accidental. I was told by Principal Adam Langto today to take it up with CPS. Well, I have repeatedly and gone to court. But because the school refuses to correct its records, meaningful resolution has become impossible. CPS relies on the school information. Courts rely on CPS. When school records remain uncorrected, the harm compounds. At this point, when you continue to refuse to act after repeated notice, it's not accidental. When an institution knows harm is occurring and continues anyway, that harm becomes intentional. This meets the definition of intentional infliction of emotional distress. So I ask you all directly as the board members who are charged with oversight, what say you? Will you allow parents to be erased and harmed without accountability? Or will you direct the administration to comply with FERPA, correct the record, and stop interfering with parental rights? Correct the record, follow federal and state law, and protect families instead of separating and severing relationships. You have more contact with my children than me, and that is sick when I've done nothing wrong. And I, as a mandated reporter and a public school employee, know the value that it takes to make those reports. And this is sick, what's happening. I shouldn't beg for over a year. Thank you.
The next board meeting of the Grandville Board of Education will be Tuesday, January 20th, 2026 at 7 p.m. at the Grandville Administration Building. We are adjourned.